The news broke like a thunderclap across the archipelago, echoing from the bustling cities to the quietest rural villages. It started as a whisper in the Department of Energy, a rumor passed in hushed tones between officials, then exploded into headlines. Vast reserves confirmed! Philippines sits on a sea of oil! The entire nation was suddenly abuzz with excitement and disbelief. On November 15, 2025, the Philippines was suddenly an energy powerhouse, its destiny seemingly rewritten overnight. Deep beneath the West Philippine Sea, seismic surveys and drilling confirmed what geologists had long suspected: billions of barrels of oil, trillions of cubic feet of natural gas, hidden for centuries beneath the waves. This was no minor find. It was a nation-altering jackpot, a discovery that promised to transform the Philippines' future. The president, flanked by top officials, addressed the nation, calling it a new dawn, a turning point that would lift millions out of poverty and reshape the country's role in the world. The Reed Bank, long rumored, was now proven to hold reserves rivaling those of oil giants, an untapped treasure that could change everything. For decades, the country depended on imported fuel, vulnerable to global price shocks and the whims of foreign suppliers. Now, energy independence was within reach. The dream of powering homes, businesses, and industries with homegrown resources was finally possible. For Filipinos from Cebu to Mindanao, it felt like a miracle, an answer to prayers, a hope for a brighter tomorrow. There was enough gas to power the country for generations, fueling growth, innovation, and opportunity for all. Enough oil to turn the Philippines into a major exporter, a new player on the world energy stage, with the potential to reshape regional economies. The discovery was a spark of national hope, igniting dreams and ambitions in every corner of the country. But reality set in quickly. These reserves lay in the most disputed waters on the planet, a region fraught with tension and uncertainty. The West Philippine Sea, claimed almost entirely by China, a flashpoint for international conflict and rivalry. The hope in Manila was met with silence from Beijing, a silence everyone knew would not last. The world braced for what might come next. Every barrel of oil, every cubic foot of gas, was now at the center of a geopolitical storm, drawing the eyes of powerful nations. The discovery illuminated a new and dangerous front line, where energy, ambition, and sovereignty would collide. The celebration was brief, the challenge immense. The world was watching, waiting to see how the Philippines would navigate this perilous new era. The stage was set for confrontation, and the fate of a nation now hung in the balance. Let's talk numbers, because they change everything. When you see the figures, you realize just how much is at stake and why the world is watching so closely. The Department of Energy estimates 11 billion barrels of oil hidden beneath the waves and waiting to be tapped. And that's not all. 190 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, a staggering reserve by any standard. That's enough gas to power the country for a century, lighting up homes and fueling industries for generations to come. The value? Trillions of dollars. An economic windfall for a nation with a $400 billion GDP. It's a sum that could transform the entire economy. This could erase foreign debt, fund world-class infrastructure, and bring the Philippines into a new era of development. Imagine creating a sovereign wealth fund for future generations, ensuring prosperity for decades. The discovery could lift millions out of poverty, providing better education, healthcare, and opportunities for all. It could propel the Philippines into the ranks of high-income nations, changing its global standing forever. It's not just about selling crude, it's about building refineries, petrochemical plants, and manufacturing hubs that add value and create new industries. Hundreds of thousands of high-skilled jobs could be created, offering new careers and reversing the brain drain. For many, it could mean finally ending the need to work abroad, reuniting families and strengthening communities at home. The Philippines could become a regional energy hub, a key player in Asia's energy future. Exporting both fuel and expertise, the country could shape the region's energy landscape. But the prize lies in deep, challenging waters, requiring tens of billions in investment and cutting-edge technology. International partners are needed to unlock this potential, but any company joining faces a geopolitical minefield with territorial disputes and shifting alliances. They'll need assurances from Manila and the global community. The treasure is there, but it won't be easy to claim. Getting to it is a high-stakes endeavor, demanding not just money, but diplomacy and resolve. The risks are as vast as the rewards, and the world is watching to see who will seize the prize. For millions, this is more than economics, it's hope. In Manila's streets, people dream of stable fuel prices, better hospitals, and jobs at home. The discovery ignites the national imagination: quality education, reliable electricity, opportunity for all. For generations, the Philippine story was resilience. Now, it could be prosperity. The oil and gas are a validation of the nation's potential. But hope is tempered by anxiety. Will this wealth benefit all, or just a few? Filipinos demand transparency and accountability. There's a call for a sovereign wealth fund with independent oversight. The dream is bright, but must be fiercely protected. The people know this is a once-in-a-generation chance. The nation's future hangs in the balance. The world is watching how the Philippines will use its fortune. The world turned to Beijing as Manila's news broke. China's response was swift, reasserting its indisputable sovereignty over the South China Sea, marked by its 9-dash line. This claim overlaps the Philippines' exclusive economic zone and the newly confirmed reserves at Reed Bank. For China, control of the sea is about shipping lanes, military dominance, and resources. China's Coast Guard has long harassed Filipino vessels, escalating tensions. The discovery raises the stakes. It's now a conflict over trillions in wealth. If the Philippines extracts oil and gas, it sets a precedent for others, an unacceptable red line for Beijing. The presence of international oil companies could turn a regional dispute into a global standoff. China could use economic coercion or escalate at sea. The risk of confrontation is real. The dragon has been provoked. The Philippines stands on international law, UNCLOS, the Constitution of the Oceans. Under UNCLOS, the Reed Bank is within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. In 2016, an international tribunal ruled overwhelmingly for the Philippines, declaring China's 9-dash line baseless. But China rejected the ruling, intensifying its activities in the West Philippine Sea. The Philippines has law on its side. China has power on the water. This is a battle between law and force. The discovery gives Manila a new reason to champion the ruling, turning legal victory into a tangible asset. The Philippines is armed with a court decision and $1 trillion incentive. The law is its shield. The world is watching which will prevail. The U.S. isn't a claimant in the South China Sea disputes, but it's far from a bystander. Its presence is felt across these contested waters, signaling its commitment to regional stability and the international order. America's interests are clear, ensuring freedom of navigation for all nations, and upholding the security of its treaty ally, the Philippines, whose sovereignty is increasingly challenged. The U.S. Navy regularly challenges China's sweeping claims through freedom of navigation operations, sending warships through disputed areas to assert international rights and keep sea lanes open. The 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty binds the U.S. and the Philippines together, recently reaffirmed to explicitly cover attacks in the South China Sea, strengthening Manila's security umbrella. This security guarantee is Manila's ultimate deterrent against aggression, providing reassurance in an increasingly volatile region. Through agreements like EDCE, U.S. forces can rapidly deploy and respond to crises, enhancing the Philippines' defense capabilities and readiness. The discovery of oil and gas reserves in these waters makes the alliance more critical than ever, as energy security becomes a new front in the struggle for control. Yet, relying on the U.S. is a delicate balance. Manila risks being caught in the crossfire of a great power rivalry, with consequences for its own sovereignty and stability. To hedge its bets, the Philippines is building broader coalitions with Japan, Australia, and European partners, seeking strength in numbers and shared interests. The American eagle is watching, ever vigilant. But the Philippines must also build its own wings, developing self-reliance and resilience in uncertain times. The alliance is a shield, offering protection, but it's not a complete solution. Manila must navigate these turbulent waters with caution and foresight. The stakes are higher than ever, and the world is watching as the next chapter in the Pacific unfolds. The Philippines walks a tightrope over fire, assert its rights too aggressively, and risk confrontation with China, do nothing and lose the resources by default, along with the dream of prosperity. China could retaliate economically, inflicting pain on workers and businesses. The government must weigh short-term pain against long-term sovereignty. Diplomacy is crucial. Keep talking to China, rally international support, and strengthen alliances. The goal: make the cost of Chinese aggression too high. It's a dangerous game of chess. Every move matters. The nation's future is at stake. The world is watching the next move. Beyond strategy, this conflict has a human face. For Filipino fishermen, the West Philippine Sea is their livelihood. They've faced harassment, blockades, and poverty as China asserts control. The oil discovery brings hope for protection, but also fear of more danger. Their concern is simple: can they still fish and feed their families? For ordinary Filipinos, the conflict means volatile fuel prices and higher costs of living. Domestic oil and gas promise stable energy and lower bills. The issue is personal. A kitchen table concern for millions. National sentiment is rising. Our tin too. This is ours. Trends online and in the streets. The government faces pressure to act assertively. The people's hopes are high, and failure would be costly. The human cost is real. The stakes are not just national, but personal. The Philippines stands at a crossroads, opportunity and threat intertwined. The emerging strategy: assertive defense, relentless diplomacy. First, strengthen defense, modernize the Navy and Air Force, maintain a presence at sea. Second, leverage alliances, deepen ties with the US, but also build coalitions with Japan, Australia, and others. Make the dispute a global concern, not just Manila versus Beijing. Third, champion the 2016 arbitral ruling, expose China's actions, and keep diplomatic channels open. The message: the Philippines is ready to defend its rights, but seeks cooperation based on law. The nation's future may be written in the West Philippine Sea. The fight is for survival, prosperity, and a just order. The path is perilous, requiring unity and courage. The treasure is within reach but must be secured wisely. The world is watching. The Filipino people hope this marks the dawn of their greatest chapter.